All right, fair warning, the audio quality is going to be crap because I'm wearing AirPods and it's windy out and I'm in nature. But the message is going to be good, so if you can bear it, then I would advise it. And I can also move somewhere where it's less windy, but the wind is sort of part of it, so whatever. If it picks up on audio, then it does. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. Having a realization about something similar to what I posted the other day with, it was a prosperity recording from a Starseed website around manifestation, the thought process that's fairly simple that one can utilize to help pivot their vibration in a very practical, applicable, everyday way. And I was thinking about a similarity between my mother and I. She's also a Cancer zodiac sign, as is my father. And she's incredibly maternal, and she's worked with early childhood development and cares about it and advocates for its importance and stuff. And she's very good with children because her and I possess this ability to be childlike in our observation of things that increases the magic for the young mind. It's a very specific way of nurturing, and her and I do it in this kind of spiritually nature-spirited way that has that, it's like, goddess of the nature energy. I have a picture of my mother on her wedding day when she was 24 years old, and she looks like a literal fairy princess in this very like earthy way. And she imparted that on me, but it's also intrinsic to my being in some ways. So I need to pause the recording for one sec. So this outlook and therefore the communication of the outlook to communicate with kids is something that I do very naturally with my dog. I know that my mother is very natural at it because throughout her time with me, living on my own as an adult and her working with young children, her communicating to me experiences that she had while working with the kids and how she spoke with them and all that, and how that for me had us both reflecting on how she spoke to me when I was a child and those dynamics and stuff. And helps me recognize that process of kind of, the past few years or whatever, helping me realize, because my body's very much in baby fever all the time, my like inherent maternal instincts and then what's inherited from my mother. And then as the deepest layer to that, what together I unlearned for the both of us because of its, other kind of contribution that complicated things or the things that we overcome collectively through lineage. There's a pheasant. This is incredibly specific. A pheasant cloud above me. I should probably snap a picture of it before it evolves too much. I'll look up the spiritual totem for pheasant, but it seems important. No, I'm going to let the cloud dissolve, but trust me when I say, so it's got the shape of the head. Okay, wait, I'll pause the recording to take a picture after all. I say pheasant, but it's morphing into one of my spirit dragons very quickly, like a ribbon snake dragon, like you see in Chinese New Year parades and artwork. But anyway, so connecting with children because it's such an innocent state of being and it kind of exists in this pure wonder, like some examples, right? It also helps you elevate your vibration and come back to a sense of like being free of the burdens of the world, right? There's all those memes on the internet, or like, it's not really a meme, it was an image of a homeless man holding a cardboard sign and it said, "I just want to be a kid again." I think that's how a lot of us feel. And what we don't realize is that the purpose of life is to deepen that sense of magic that we experience as children, that we come into the world with, because every child is different, and deepen that. And instead, it's immediately, society and the structures that be immediately start to compress and shut that down in a very strategic manner, which is what I'm going to be addressing in my part 1 or 2 of the Barbie and American Dream videos. So we'll get to that, but examples of it would be like, say a child, and you let them kind of lead the way of their own exploration of the natural world, says, "Oh, look, a caterpillar." You go up to it and you're like, "Wow, this is a great find. I wonder, have you ever seen a caterpillar like this before?" And then get them to engage with it on a deeper level. Nothing is wrong or right, when you're just exploring in nature. And it's like, I like how it kind of has like a fuzzy back. That's pretty neat. I don't think we should touch it though. You can navigate the world safely and educate them and teach of appreciation by the way that you experience the world alongside them. it's really a blessing to have children in a person's life. It's why they're sacred and they have to be protected and elevated, especially right now with the caliber of like these old souls that are coming into bodies. I happen to know my spirit, my firstborn. I happen to know the spirit. We've connected in a multitude of ways over the past couple years because spirit babies will come to you non-physically before they incarnate. And that's not something I'll talk about probably for a long time, but I'm just throwing that in there too. And so I noticed this basically when you're in that state of appreciating things and living life without these burdens. I just finished recording a reading for the new moon in Scorpio, and the Ten of Wands and all this release is very much the theme. Um, it always comes back to existing in the present moment and letting that be enough. Letting the present moment be enough. I cannot emphasize how insane the clouds are today. Get outside and look at some clouds today. They're speaking so loudly. The clouds are. It's all good things. These beautiful currents of energy, these messengers elementally. Yeah. But anyway, coming back to the present moment, being with a kid will do that to you if you're not pissed off by them and trying to get them to put their sneakers on and make schedule. And that's part of the way that we start to stifle this free spirited, more and more children are being asked to make these big decisions. Childhood is not about big decisions. Childhood's about safety and they feel safe and protected. That's the start of whatever else it is. That's how they get equipped to handle a point in time when their safety and protection is in their own hands. That's how it works. And so child rearing in the future will look more to return to a tribal, more communal sense. Because it makes sense, because I want multiple influences and positive role models in the life of my child. I don't need to be the sole influence on their behavior. I want them to be able to have, like, my cousin, for instance. If I have a 10-year-old one day, I want for that kid to be able to go talk to her and tell her everything that she's too mad at me to tell me, and have that, like, sense of a group where there's generations of camaraderie and love, because the goal is to grow together. We must learn a lot from the children. It's the Muttley. All right, pause again. So I've thought a lot about conscious parenting in my life, and thinking about it today again in the park under the blue sky, looking at clouds with my dog, because I utilize him and the joy that he brings to my life in the same way that we can with children, where I'm like, what a nice day in life. Look at the sky. It feels so good to be alive, doesn't it? Like, I'm like consciously walking myself through affirmations by highlighting. And my dog's so fluent and attentive to me that, like, he's just a little cartoon. Like, he's looking at me at the normal beats and pauses within my own speech that would, require a response from a secondary party, as if we're truly conversing. And he's like, heck yeah. And we're always on the same wavelength. He's like my little, he helps me tether more closely to joy on a regular basis. It's an exquisite way to put it, and it's true. I'm in like an alley alcove just to finish this message, because I'm going to keep walking the dog, and it's just gusty and windy, and so I don't want to be like out of breath and communicating poorly. But to wrap up the idea, having either an animal to connect with or children, and coming back to the present moment and using all of your safety and protection as you can offer as an adult, where they can spend time and be validated and just express their thoughts. And it's why, nature schools are such a beautiful thing, nature schools, and less structured curriculum that's indoors. So it's the same as connecting to the high vibration of just seeing the joy of an animal. Dogs are down for whatever. And I'm constantly hyping him up, and therefore hyping myself up. And we're in this great space. And that's my choice. And people think that I'm kind of insane with the dog, and I am. But it's a choice, because it helps me, like, and then I'm so sorry. I had another alcove. To the other side of that, if I'm going through something that, like, he can tell when I'm, like, profoundly in need of restoration and I'm processing something, he also goes to match that vibration. So pets and kind of the wisdom of how we can train and work with animals in a very like psychic energetic bond type of way. Um, that is that is healing and supportive to our existence as humans. But then just bonding with children and strengthening our role, whether or not it's your child or just a child that you're interacting with, like at a bus stop, and like collectively doing right by kids that we come across. And it also heals you. So this is the commonality that I'm trying to make a point of to end the recording. It's like we don't die and lose our childhood. We are meant to understand it, vicariously in the world we create for other children to experience their childhood and protect that. The world that we've created obliterates childhoods. So it's deeply, deeply like, that's something that it's like prompt. This is what we can journal on, class. Like, if you think about your childhood and everything you were exposed to, how was it in some ways like an obliteration of certain things that you could have let yourself experience for longer to kind of bloom in the way of things that were stunted. This is so nuanced for the individual, but it is the inevitable of growing up in a world that's imperfect. And then it's what, if I were to respond to my uncle from 3 months ago, it's the niche in the market. Somebody asks me why my work is important, this type of work that I'm trying to sew together with the videos and all the other things I'm doing right now. It's like, it's because the healing journey is inevitable in the world that we live in. The systems that are in place to help people solve that are damaging and riddled with corruption, and they're part of the problem. And the other methods are much more affordable and quite pure in the way of like self-empowerment. I like a juncture of a lot of the things that we see as far as psychology. Let's not forget about, I did take a course when I was in school. It was called cross-cultural psychology. So sometimes people forget that the psychology we know is just Western psychology, or in many cases it is modern day. Like it's a culmination of the most commonly accepted and referenced, agreed upon things, really. But that does change around the globe. It does. You have to take that into account. What I was saying is like, the holistic healing, the body, the herbalist stuff. I've been having so many beautiful visions about how I'm going to be getting into that. I can't wait. I'm so emboldened by that strange encounter with the witch in the woods in my hypnotic dream space, because the message has been received. I'm like, it just feels like this extra thing. And I'm like, how would I even do that? And her message was very simple. She's like, just do it. You don't know. You can't really get it wrong because you're only going to be on to the things that are important for you to use. It's going to be 100% guided. So anyway, the intersection, right? And then finishing my certification as a life coach and employing some of the other things around healing modalities that I learned in my own therapy and healing journey and at school and through the certification course. So yeah, that's it for today.